good afternoon. So since we are in the evening, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's webinar. So to get started, I would like to tell us, okay, my name is Ayomide Ajayi, Community Manager at Odumari Tech. Before we get started, I would like to tell us a little bit about Odumari Tech. Odumari Tech, like we all know or familiar with by now, is an EdTech company. We are a UK registered company, which is where our head office is located. At Odumari Tech, our unwavering commitment lies in your success. Here we believe more on hands-on projects and real-life cases rather than just theoretical concepts. So we deal more on practicals here. And if you decide to learn with Odumari Tech, at the end of your 16-week journey with us, which is the duration of our bootcamp, you'll get a UK globally recognized certificate. Yeah, so that's just a lowdown of, okay, our mission is to empower individuals with tech knowledge, skills, and practical experience for their personal and professional growth through a supportive and innovative learning approach. So we don't just teach you the theoretical aspects of your course, we teach you basically practicals. We believe more on hands-on projects. So to the main event of the evening, I would like to introduce our guest speaker for tonight, Tiffany. Hi, Tiffany.
Hi.
Okay, so I would like you to introduce yourself. Tell us about your journey, about everything you went through to get to where you are today. Because I only know a bit about the story. I don't know deep down, I don't know the lowdown of your journey. So that's the main reason why we are here, to hear about your experience so far. So the floor is yours, Tiffany.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm going to share my screen so I can pull up my presentation. So let me see, share. All right. So can everyone see my screen? Yes,
Yeah.
thumbs up.
Yeah.
All right, great. So my name is Tiffany Teasely. I also go by Data Sister. That's my social media handle. So Tiffany Data Sister Teasely. And so today's session is on how to hack your way to a successful tech career. And I want to thank Odumari Tech for inviting me to be here and to speak with you guys. I think they have a wonderful program, so that's why I'm here. And I'm hoping that I can share some tips that can help you on your journey. Let's talk about what we're gonna go over. So today's agenda, my presentation, I'm gonna start off with telling you a little bit about myself and my journey. I'm also gonna talk about challenges I face, because there were challenges, but I'm also gonna tell you that if I had to do it all over again, what I would change, so that it can help you while you're on your journey. I'll leave you with some helpful tips, and I'll end with key takeaways. And then most importantly, I'm going to open the floor for Q&A because this is your session. I want you to be able to ask questions that, relate to you and, get my feedback or maybe some tips that can help you along your journey or on your way. So let's go ahead and get started. So about me. I am what I call myself a teacher turned data scientist. So I left a 20-year high school teaching career at the age of 40 to pursue, becoming a data scientist. So a little background about myself: high school math teacher, 20 years. I'm actually still in the United States, we have national board certification. And so that means I can teach, throughout the nation. And my license doesn't expire to 2031. So technically, I'm still a teacher, I still have that title teacher. So what that means for you guys is that at the end of this presentation, there's going to be a pop quiz. So make sure you are taking good notes. And of course, I'm just playing. I'm just joking around. But yes, I was a teacher for 20 years. And what a lot of people don't know is that while I was teaching at the same time, I was also an adjunct math professor at my alma mater, North Carolina Central University. So I've worked two jobs I can't remember when I only worked one job. So as a teacher, to supplement my income, I was doing that full time, and then I was doing this part time. And after that, as far as my journey goes, I'm a data scientist at LexisNexis. But let me just pause here for a moment. When you're right now, especially if you're a career changer or if you have a family like I did, when I was on my journey, I had school age children at home. I was working two jobs, but it's possible. I carved out time, whether it be on the weekends and the evenings, to do what I needed to do so that I can pursue my passion and reach my goal of becoming a data scientist. So, and we'll talk about that. I'm a data scientist currently at LexisNexis. I've been there. This is my first job as a data scientist. I've been there for over 2 years. This year in April will make 3 years. So that's kind of like my career journey. All right, so next, this is why I chose to become a teacher. Not sorry, why I chose to become a data scientist. So in this picture, this is me, Mrs. Teasely, in the high school, teaching in front of the board. I think it's like my pre-calculus class, but why I chose to become a data scientist. So why did I want to switch careers? Well, teaching was really never my first career choice. It was kind of the job that was available, but I fell in love with it. I really did. I fell in love with teaching, and I did it for a really long time. But at one point in the state of North Carolina, they started grading teachers on how well their students perform on integrated grade tests. So basically, they tell you if you're an effective teacher based on your students' test scores. And so, of course, teachers, we were just like, how can you grade me and determine whether or not I'm a good teacher based on the scores? But there was a lot of other factors that went into that. They talked about the attendance. And at the end of the day, all that was data science related. That's when I really became into this data science and really became data driven from that point on. So I put data driven North Carolina teacher evaluation system. That was like one of the first, reasons, or when I first kind of became interested in like the whole data science idea and the data and how all this works. Also, 20 years teaching, I taught high school math. I put teacher burnout, but I know a lot of teachers, and I have a lot of teacher friends, they still teach. It's not an easy job, but they enjoy what they do. I think what really got me was when my children were younger and I was teaching high school, it was fine. But when I started dealing with, when they became teenagers, like when my children became teenagers and I had to deal with teenagers at work, it was just a lot for me. So basically, I kind of got burnt out with just dealing with high school teenagers at that point. So I was really looking for a way out. And again, I was interested in the data. I always love to learn. So that's why I chose that path and how to pursue, a career of becoming a data scientist. I also have a love for learning. Like that's what I enjoy doing. And you will realize in the tech field, you're going to have that passion. You're going to have to want to learn, love to learn. The learning is never going to end. It's going to be an ongoing thing. So that's another reason. And then, of course, we all know teachers don't make a lot of money. So the higher salary was definitely something that was one of the motivators for me to pursue this career path. So a little bit about my career journey. I completed a 1-year program at a university. It was applied statistics and data management. And so, I had a degree, but I felt like, oh, I need to go to this, university, take this program, and then I'm going to be able to get my job as a data scientist. And that's not what happened. What helped me get my first job was actually attending the boot camp. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here, because they offer the boot camp. I love the services that they offer, but the boot camp is what really helps you prepare and get out there in the real world. Because when you're at the boot camp, you're learning the technical skills, you're doing hands-on projects, building a portfolio. Those are the things that you need to actually get hired. Me just adding this statistics, to my resume or, to my portfolio, it wasn't enough because I didn't have the technical skills. Actually, excuse me, when I, please mute your mics, please. But when I was on my journey, and I signed up for this program, I thought I would be ready. But, in order for you to be a data scientist, you have to know a programming language called Python or R. And in this program, we learned SAS. So it wasn't enough for me to get a job. So if you notice, I kind of started 2017, kind of looking into this, but I had to put my dreams on pause for a moment because, I had to pay for this. And so 2020 is when I tried again, the year of the pandemic, everything was shut down. We were at working from home. And so I really took advantage of that opportunity to do an online program in the boot camp. So I did my boot camp. November 2020 is when I completed it. I didn't get my first job until April of 2021. And I'll talk more about that, all I had to do to apply and actually get the first interview. So I got my job April 2021 as a data scientist. 2022, October 2020, I founded my brand Data Sister, or my company Data Sister. And the reason why I did that is because, I mentioned before, I started after leaving a 20-year teaching career. My last resume was on a floppy disk. When you're a teacher, anyone would take you. Once you have that teacher skills, you really don't have to have a resume, especially in our state, everything is kind of in the system. They know where you work. They can look at your teacher evaluations. So I never had the need to update a resume. So me coming into this whole new world of just networking and jobs, it was totally new to me, and I kind of felt lost. And so what I told myself, I said, once I get settled in my job, in my career as a data scientist, I'm going to come back and I'm going to start helping people. So what I did was I waited a year, after I started working for a year, trying to learn, just this whole new world. I decided to come back in October, and I started, helping people on LinkedIn on how to pursue their journey, telling them the challenges that I went through. And really, honestly, I saw a great need. I think that's why my brand is so successful, because there is a need. There's a lot of people who really want to switch careers or transition, and they don't know how to, or they don't really know how to network now. So that's the reason behind my brand. I'm really just out here trying to help. I tell people all the time, sis, just out here trying to help people. And that's what I do on a day-to-day basis on LinkedIn. February of 2023, I was recognized at my company as one of the amazing people. Now, I put this up here for a reason. All right. The reason I put this here, not just to, as an accolade for Tiffany, good job, amazing people, that's great. But if you're someone that, you feel like, well, I've been in my career for so long, I'm established, people know me, I'm doing great, I'm at the top, and you have a fear of starting over, just look at how from April 2021, I'm going in brand new, never worked a tech job a day in my life. And then here, less than 2 years later, I'm getting recognized as being one of the amazing people, still as a junior data scientist. So I say that for those who feel like, have that fear of starting all over again. If you're great wherever you are now or what you're doing now, you're going to be great whenever you move and you switch to your new career. You're going to take yourself there. So don't let the fear of starting over hold you back. So just in that short amount of time. And then when I was named as one of the amazing people at LexisNexis, it was as a junior data scientist. I don't know it all. I'm still fairly new. I don't have a PhD, but I use just a simple solution, everyday solution, and it helps solve a bigger problem. It helps save the company money, and that's what companies want. They want to save money. So just wanting to throw that in there for anyone who's kind of like, on the fence about, pursuing this tech career. So there were definitely challenges. Again, that's why I'm here. That's why I started my data sister brand. So this is challenges I face. And if I had to do it all over again, like what would I change? How would I get over these challenges? Well, the first thing was networking 20 years later. Again, resume on a floppy disk. When I was job searching years ago, it was about, printing your resume on some cardstock paper and, making sure that it might be not on white paper, but like maybe a little off white so that if someone sees your resume, it sticks out in a pile of papers. Well, now, no one is really handing out paper resumes. It's all done through the computer and through the systems. So, and then the networking part, it was hard for me on LinkedIn. Everyone says go to LinkedIn. When I went to LinkedIn, people wouldn't connect with me because the only experience I had was education, a teacher. So it's like, why would you want to connect with a teacher when she's not a data scientist? So I had to figure out like, well, how does this whole LinkedIn work? Now, if I was to do this all over again, I was looking at networking completely wrong. When you're on LinkedIn, it's not about a connection. You want to start building your brand. You want to start follow the crowd. Find some of the big names. So whatever field that you're going in, whether you're going into web development, data, any of the data, just in the search bar, put the title there and look for some of the top creators out there, because those are the people that get the most engagement. And then that's how you network, is when you start engaging with some of those top people in their field by putting a comment or even asking a question. You'll start meeting people in the chat. There's people right there making comments. And so now those are the types of people that you want to connect with. And then when you start putting like an engaging comment out there, people are going to go to your page. But when they go to your page, what are they going to see? So if you don't have any posts or any content out there for people to interact with, then, that's kind of like a lost cause. So what you want to do is you want to, on LinkedIn, you want to start putting out some content. I'm not saying be a content creator, but just be consistent. Dedicate 2 to 3 days a week where you just put something out there, interact, engage. And when I say put something out there, write about, like if you're working on a project, if you're working on a course, if you faced a challenge for that day, those are the things you want to put out there. People want to know about real experiences. They don't want to know about all the good roses and stuff. They want to know like challenges that you face, and then put it out there. And so again, build your brand, all right? Build your brand, optimize your LinkedIn profile. And again, like I said, it was a challenge networking as a teacher, but how I was able to get around that was that my portfolio has data science projects. So my projects pretty much became my experience, and that actually rolled over into my resume. When I did my resume, the first thing I put was data science projects. So when someone looks at my resume, immediately the first thing they see is a whole bunch of data science stuff at the top. And then it's like they kind of get to the bottom, they look at my job, and it's like, oh, she was a teacher. So you want to put that stuff out in the forefront. So if you are transitioning careers, you want to have a portfolio. I know the boot camp, they help with building portfolios and projects, but you want to put that stuff out there and write about it. Another challenge I faced was just constant, I had my little resume, I applied for jobs, but I felt like, every time I would apply for a job, I would get an email rejection. Probably within a day or two, I was constantly getting these email rejections. And that's because I didn't know about this application tracking system. It's called ATS. Companies use these systems. So when you apply for a job, it gets scanned into the computer, and they rank your resume on how closely it relates to the job description. That's how they rank the resumes. And so what I would do today is I recommend anytime you apply for a job, you want to have a job specific resume. You know, you're going to create a resume, but that resume cannot be the same resume that you send for every single job. You literally have to optimize it for each job. And so how you would do that is, you know, take a particular section. It could be your recent work experience. It could be a summary that you have at the top. You want to optimize those sections for whatever that job description has. Because if you don't have those keywords there, the system is automatically going to reject you. You can be a great technical person or a great data scientist, but no one will ever know that if they don't get a chance to meet you and see you. The sole purpose of the resume is to get the interview. And so again, what I would do all over again, I would make sure I would optimize my resume, you know, for that application tracking system. I will make it job specific by including those keywords. And then the secret sauce to all of this is getting an employer referral. And I'm actually going to talk more about that. But if you really, really want to get your resume in the hands of a recruiter, which is going to lead you to an interview by a hiring manager, you want to make sure that you get an employer referral. So that goes back to the networking. That means, you know, who am I going to get an employer referral from? Well, if you're out there on LinkedIn and you're writing and you're kind of building your network and you're engaging with other people, it will be easy for you to come to someone and say, hey, you know, I'm interested in a job at your company, you know, set up a coffee chat and ask them if they would be interested in giving you an employer referral. Once I share more information on employer referral, hopefully that will give you confidence on not being afraid to go out and ask for those, because you really, really want that. I talked about this ATS system, how they rank your resumes based on the job description. Well, an employer referral is on a whole nother different pile. Some companies, that's their policy. Their policy is that if someone comes in with an employer referral, they automatically have to look at your resume. So keep that in mind as you start job searching. And then the last thing I want to mention is failed interview. So I got my first interview, you know, after all those months, all these rejections. My first interview was actually where I work now at LexisNexis. And so I'm going to tell you the story on how I got my first job as a data scientist. I actually failed the interview. So I finally made it. You know, I figured out that, you know, I needed to use these keywords. And so somehow it made it through. The recruiter called me, sent me over. I talked to the manager. I'm sitting in an interview with the manager. You know, things are going well. My introductory is great. And he asked me, did I know a concept? And in data science, it was about a model called BERT. Now, BERT is like a algorithm by Google. I'm not gonna go into all the details, but he asked if I know anything about BERT because that he felt like, you know, for the current project, you know, that was something that I was going to need to know about BERT. And so unfortunately, I had to tell him no because I didn't know anything about BERT. I was kind of all over the place. I was applying to any and everywhere. So I told him no, which was fine, but I was so pumped up just to get that first interview. I was so excited that I even had an interview with him. He actually gave me direction, you know, because if you don't know much about data science is like a broad field. And so you have, you know, natural language processing, which is text. BERT is related to like the text, the language models. And so after that interview, it kind of gave me something to learn. I said, you know what? I need to learn about BERT. So after the interview that weekend, I found a course on Coursera. No, I found a course on Udemy. It wasn't a very long course, but I completed the course. And then what I did was I went to Coursera, which is one of my favorite resources because they have these guided projects. And so I went to Coursera. I found 2 projects that was related to BERT. So I'm doing these projects. And when I say they're guided, there's literally someone on the video telling you what to do, you know, how it applies. They give a little bit of background information. So I learned the course. I did the projects and I felt like, you know, okay, I got this. I can actually do a little bit of something with BERT. And so what I did was I actually built a little small project using BERT. But what got me the job was I emailed the manager. I emailed him maybe like a week or 2 later, and I told him, I was like, hey, you know, I just really, you know, thank you for the interview. You really inspired me. since our last meeting, I actually learned about BERT. You know, I completed this course. I had my little certificate. I completed a couple of guided projects. And just that email alone, and I mean, I was just like, you know, and thank you. And when he responded, he was like, you know what? I am just so impressed by your enthusiasm to like go out and learn. Like, I'm going to send you to the next round of the interview process. And just from that alone, he sent me to the next step of the interview process where I had to get interviewed by another team member, and I got the job. Just from that, me going back and learning, I got the job. So you are going to get rejections. You may even have a failed interview, but learn from those interviews. What do I need to learn? What skill gaps am I missing? And go and do what you need to do and keep it moving. Remember, you only need one yes. You are going to get some rejections, but at the end of the day, you need that one yes, and you will have your job. So I want to say that to encourage you. I hope that encourages someone. Power of employer referrals. I cannot stress this enough. You know, I put statistics here. So according to Zippia.com, all right, this is February 2023, employer referrals outperform any other hiring method. So this goes to show you that companies prefer referrals. It says 71% of employers have a referral program, and 88% rate referrals as the best source. All right, so employer referrals programs is the best source of job applicants. You know, they like for people to be referred by their employees, because statistics also shows that employer referrals stay with the companies longer. Here's some more stats. It says they outperform any other hiring method. So here's an example here. It says 72% of interviews are referrals. So let's say if you had 300 people apply to a job, and only 30. So out of the 300 people who applied, 10%, 30 were interviewed. 21 of those 30 are the referral applicants. They will be interviewed. Like, that's how huge employer referrals are. Like, they're going to pick the employer referrals first. They're going to look at those candidates first. And remember, the sole purpose of the resume is so you can get that interview. So you want to, one, optimize your resume, like I told you, with the key, the keywords and things like that to get through the application tracking system. But if you really want to get it into the hands of a hiring manager or a recruiter, you want to get an employer referral. And let me tell you about an employer referral. Most companies, they give their employees incentives for employer referrals. So if I refer you to my company, I get compensated and I get extra money for that. So why would I tell you no? And so the reason why I say that is because I know some people are always like kind of afraid. I don't know them. I'm scared to ask, but it doesn't hurt. It's a win-win situation. You can get an interview and get a job. The person who referred you, they get an incentive. And then I'll talk about ways that, people that you may want to reach out to. But one of the stats I do want to say here is that the reason why they do like employer referrals is because employer referrals stay longer. 45% of referral hires stay longer than 4 years, compared to only 25% of just direct hires or job board hires. So employer referrals matter. Companies prefer that anyway. Helpful tips. So let's see. So some of the helpful tips that I put up here, just kind of list of tips. Leverage your existing skills. So as a teacher, one of the skills that has really helped me in my career are strong communication skills. Strong communication skills are a superpower. You will be so surprised on how many people can't explain things in a way that everyone in the room can understand. You have some people that are just so they're so high up here with their thinking that they can't, for lack of a better word, they can't dumb it down so that everyone in the room can understand. And the reason why that's so important is because, when you have people, the stakeholders, people that are writing the check, they may not be technical, but you need to be able to communicate that information to them in a way so they understand, so they can write that check. So strong communication skills is huge when you're going in. So any other skills, don't feel like, if I'm leaving my career, think about some of your strengths in your current field or what you have. Bring those are going to transition over as well. take advantage of opportunities to collaborate. So, this past year, I had the opportunity, I've interviewed probably over 300 people, just helping out my company, interviewing people and things like that. And one of the things that, they tell us to ask people coming in is the biggie is like the ability for people to work on a team and collaborate. So if you're on a boot camp, you're in a boot camp and you guys are working on projects, take advantage of that opportunity and like take advantage even of like conflict, time management. They want to hear about that. They want to know that you're able to work on a team. They want to know that you're able to multitask. What happens when one of the goals switch? You have a goal, but then like priorities change. How are you going to handle that? How do you handle time management? I talked about even myself about I was working 2 jobs, doing the boot camp, how did I manage my time? And then conflict resolution. So take advantage of those opportunities, because if you can come in and say like, hey, I've worked on a team, I work with people on a project, you can bring all those experiences there. And, and those are skills that are sought out from employers. And again, I mentioned this early, embrace learning, utilize and learning to navigate challenges and seize opportunities. I shared my story about how I felt my interview, but because, I'm out here trying to learn, hey, I'm gonna learn BERT. Regardless if I get this job or not, I'm gonna go out here and learn BERT. You have to really, really embrace learning. Like, any skills gaps and learn it all. I know when I was doing my data boot camp, I was so focused on like, this should just be data science stuff. And we learned a little bit of stuff about like web development, things like that. Learn it all. Like get exposure to all of it. Like don't just be so focused on like, well, only a data scientist does this. You want to take all this information in, soak it in, apply it, play around with it, do your own little side stuff. If you get a project or if you get a homework assignment, I know like you may have assignment and maybe due, but go and extend it and like try it again. And you want to be able to really understand this. It's not just enough just to have a certification, but you want to be able to apply it into the real world. And then network. All right, I mentioned the networking, but I'm gonna talk a little bit more about networking before we end this. How does networking look? I have people ask me all the time, like, well, how do I network? All right. So first thing is the LinkedIn, post about your projects and tech related topics, data related topics, be consistent. Consistent does not mean you have to post every day, but just be active and be present. Like, if you're here now and, you're trying to switch careers, like the only social media that you really need to be focusing on right now is LinkedIn, because the LinkedIn is the new Google. As soon as your name comes across someone's desk, your resume pops up, the first place they're going to go is to your LinkedIn. So you want to optimize your profile, have a nice headshot picture. You want to have everything filled out. You want to have your feature any projects that you've done, but really, really optimize your LinkedIn. This is another thing that I told someone, make sure whatever company that you want to apply. So let's just say a job comes up and you're really interested at a job at this company. Make sure you're following the company, because I've actually talked to recruiters and they said that, I see candidates, they interview or apply for this job, but they're not even following us. They don't even, they're not even following us on LinkedIn. And so like if a recruiter, if they had to choose between this person and the other person, they're going to choose the person that's following the company. So before you start just blindly applying to stuff, go to their LinkedIn profile, hit the little follow button and kind of see what they have going on. Connect with employees. So if there's a particular company that you work for, and connect with employees from the company. Again, employer referrals are the best. I'll come over here when I say school pride. Some people are afraid to just reach out to random people. Who do I connect with? Who do I send, a message to if I'm trying to get an employer referral? Have that school pride. Anybody that's, if you're in school, any alumni from your school, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look for someone who attended North Carolina Central University. That's the first thing. So if I go to a company site, they have a section called the People's tab. And that's all the people that are, that work at that company that's on LinkedIn. I'm looking for someone, first of all, that went to North Carolina Central. If I don't see anyone that went to North Carolina Central, the next thing I'm gonna look for is a Black female. I mean, that's just what I'm gonna do. Find someone that you have something in common with. whether it be the same hometown, anything, and just, send them a message. So set up a virtual coffee chat, but you want to get that employer referral. And so I put interact with other data scientists because, I was a data scientist and that's what, I would do. But regardless of what field, if you're doing web development, tech, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to get to, whatever your role is, you want to connect or interact. It doesn't have to be connect, because on LinkedIn, I kind of felt a little salty because I was hitting the connect button and people weren't connecting back. Just follow people. You want to build up your connections, but like if you send someone a connection request, you need to send like a message or something. I have like 400 plus people pending in my queue for connections, and I would love to connect with everyone, but I mean, I like to interact with my connections. So send a message if you do decide that you want to connect with someone, but don't feel like, like I don't want to say rejected if they don't hit the connection request back. What you care about is following and engaging with their content, and talk to the people in the comment section and start following and connecting with them. Join tech groups, any tech groups, organizations on social media, Slack, meetups, LinkedIn. That's like my number one resource. That's why I'm active every day, all day. I will go onto the search bar, type whatever, technical area you're looking for. And then they have a section called groups. And so when you click on groups, if you filter by groups, you can find all different types of groups related to that technical field. So that would be a great place to start. And then if you can't find a mentor at your company, LinkedIn, any type of technical groups, my mentor actually is who I have now. I didn't have a mentor before I started, but I actually got a mentor after taking his course. So I took a course last year because I want to learn and I want to grow. I end up signing up for the course. I did really well. I ended up being a course facilitator, and now he's my mentor. So you just have to reach out and ask people. All right. And so here are my key takeaways, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A. It's never too late to pursue a technical career. Again, I left a 20-year high school math teaching career at 40. So in my 40s switching career, it's never too late to pursue your passion. Don't let age or non-technical background hold you back. And so embrace change. Don't let that fear of starting over, any of that stuff hold you back from pursuing your passion. Embrace learning. All right, we talked about that. Learning is never going to stop. Build a portfolio of projects, which if you're in the boot camp, that's something that they build your portfolio. Seize opportunities to collaborate. So if you're working together on a project, like that's important. You want to be able to have that. And actually, I will say this, on LinkedIn, there's a section for recommendations. And my current boss, the one who hired me, he never asked me for any recommendations because he looked at the recommendations I had on LinkedIn. And the only 2 recommendations I had on LinkedIn were 2 students that I did a group project with, and we all gave each other recommendations. So if you do work on a project together, you guys should go out there on LinkedIn and, put a recommendation, hey, Tiffany was a great leader. Tiffany did this on a project, just something out there to speak on some of your strengths. And then again, continuous learning. The learning will never end. As soon as you stop, don't think that like once I get my, I'm working towards this, and once I get my job, I'm good. No, you're gonna have to constantly be learning and upskilling because the technology just turns and changes so fast. And then the last thing is embrace networking. Optimize your LinkedIn profile, so people, when they come to your page, they're going to have something that they can engage with. So you're networking. And remember, employee referrals matter. I cannot stress that enough. Employee referrals matter. And now I'm going to open the floor for Q&A. I did want to leave this slide up here. Stay connected. I'm very active on LinkedIn. My name is Tiffany Teasely. So please follow me on LinkedIn, connect with me. If you send me a connection request, make sure you say like, hey, I attended the Odemari's, Tech Live event, so I know who you are. And then I can connect with you fairly quickly. My social media handle is @DataSister. So I do have some stuff out there on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. And then if you want to contact me, that is my email address. And I do want to mention, that the Odamari Tech, they have an upcoming boot camp that's going to start February 3rd, and the registration is ongoing. So if that's something that you're interested in, register today. I believe they have a coupon code. If you sign up today and use my name, Tiffany, you get a discount, but I'll let them speak on that as well. But let me open the floor now for Q&A. Questions. Are we going to let people mute themselves? Sound is lagging. Is it better now? All right, questions. Let me go back to this. We can type questions in the chat, sure. Questions? This is for you.
Okay, that was a nice session. Okay, we have one question.
Okay. So from Sarah, I'm interested in breaking into the data analyst field. I'm seeing a lot of jobs ask for 10 years of experience for entry-level jobs. How to approach that? That's a very, very good question. So for data analysts, companies are seeking 3 skills for data analysts. You need to know Excel, SQL, and a data visualization tool such as Tableau or Power BI. Now, to answer your question about the 10 years of experience, don't reject yourself. Let the companies reject you. So apply. That's what I would say. Apply. Don't like hold back an application because you think that you don't qualify. Let them do the, oh, she doesn't fit, because I can guarantee you, remember, I applied for that job. I'm sure Bert was in the job description. I didn't know anything about Bert, but hey, I applied for it anyway. How can you balance school life and tech life at the same time? Balance school life and tech life at the same time. So can you elaborate? Are you talking about like when I was on my journey and like how I was working and how I was doing the school? I'm assuming you're speaking on that, like just me when I was doing my transition when you were working. Yeah. So again, using the chat box, just yeah. So again, when I was on my journey, I was working 2 jobs. So I had my Monday through Friday, and then I was doing 2 days in the evenings. I was actually teaching at the university. So I had to time block, schedule time for things. I was doing the boot camp. And so when I was on a boot camp, of course, we had assignments and things like that. I didn't start doing any job searching until after I completed my boot camp. So it turned into me working my 2 jobs and doing my boot camp and, building my portfolio. But then after I completed, my boot camp, I still had my 2 jobs. But what I did was during the week, I would apply to at least 5 jobs. Now, applying to jobs is like a job in itself, because I didn't have a lot of time and I had a family. I had to cook dinner sometimes, my husband is great, but I had to do mommy duties as well. But I spent my time during the week actually applying for jobs. But then on the weekend, I use that time to actually upskill and keep learning, because the learning is never going to end. Even if you finish your boot camp, when you finish your boot camp, you're going to constantly be learning. So you really have to just buckle down and get it done. Sometimes I had to wait until my family went to sleep. That's really when I did, I would burn that midnight oil and I would just be up, but I really enjoy learning. So I was up learning, and learning was my happy place. Let me see. Okay, when were you working? When you were working? Okay. Thank you for answering the question. At what level should I feel confident in my skills to apply for a job? I'm concerned about being able to keep up with job tasks if my skill levels are not yet up to par. So it really boils down to you want to have a portfolio. So like, when you get calling for an interview, you want to be able to show the company that like, okay, I worked on this project. These are, the skills. The project just shows that you know how to apply the skills. No one cares about just a list of skills. Like I see resumes all the time and people have this long list of skills that they got off of a curriculum guide pretty much. I mean, you can go to school and they'll tell you you're going to learn all these different things, but what a company wants to know, they want to know like, how did you apply those skills? So if I talked about data analytics being Excel, SQL, Tableau, you want to have a project that shows you displaying all three of those skills in those projects. Put those first. And again, don't reject yourself. Don't feel like not confident in applying. When I started working as a data scientist, that was another challenge. I was in a classroom. I didn't even know how to work. I didn't even know like how to use like Microsoft Teams. Teams is like how we communicate with each other. Like I had to learn everything. But a lot of companies too, like, coming in, like those are things that you can learn walking into the door. Just have confidence, and you want to come off as confident as well. Just know that like whatever I don't know, I can go out and I can learn. So I hope I answered that question. Has that my skills are not yet up to par. And Sarah, please let me know if I didn't answer your question, if you have a follow-up behind it. I'm interested in data scientists. My question is, do I have to be a data analyst before proceeding to be a data scientist? No, you don't. But to be honest, it would be great to go ahead and have those skills first, because what you can do is what a lot of people don't talk about is like some companies, including my company, I work for LexisNexis, we have an internal data science certification program. If you go to Coursera, IBM has a data science certification, as well, like for their company. So if you come in as a data analyst, just having those three skills, get your foot. It just depends how soon you want to get a job and if you want to start working. If I was to do it all over again, that's probably the route I would have taken. I probably would have just did a data analyst role first and then slid my way into a data science position. But you don't have to. And if you don't do that, the only thing that would change is you would need to start really getting into the Python, But again, the SQL and the Excel, definitely I will go ahead and knock those out. Once you start doing Python, we have libraries that does like the data visualization part. So that's why like you wouldn't need Tableau or Power BI. However, I use Tableau at my job. Like that's something that they use. I'm a data scientist, but I need to know how to use it and interact with it. So I really honestly would recommend getting those three skills out the way first, then start building up, the Python and the machine learning stuff and go from there. Thank you for the answer questions. Okay, so I answered that question. Thank you. All right, more questions.
Let's all ask Tiffany, now that she has time for us, let us all ask any question we have in mind. Yeah, so for
you. On your
okay. You have another question, Tiffany.
Okay.
What side you recommend for practicing skills like SQL?
Okay, I'm gonna go to the first one first. I won't skip over. It says, do data scientists use any other programming language other than Python? So you'll hear about the big debate on on LinkedIn. They always talk about Python and R. Well, I put out a poll, and I'm just gonna tell you right now, Python is a language that you want to learn. R is used more in academia, like if you're in a grad program or something, they use R. But on everyday tasks, when you get on a job, I'm gonna say like 90% or even 95% of the time you're gonna be using Python. So I would really put my focus on learning Python. And then with Python, there's so many cool libraries that you can do with like the machine learning, data wrangling, which is like cleaning your data, getting into a good form. There's just really good libraries with Python. So I would say Python. What are some websites you recommend for practicing skills like SQL? So for SQL, there's a site that you can practice SQL questions for free. I'm gonna put it in the chat. I think it's Data Lemur. It's free, but I mean, of course, if you sign up, if you sign up, they have like a more like, premium, when you will have more, you can have more advanced options. But when you sign up, you do get some questions for free. The owner, or the Nick, he wrote this book, Nick Singh, and I actually met with him. This actually was a really good book. Nick Singh. I had an opportunity to meet with him, but he is the founder of that site. My favorite resource, and look, I don't get any kickback for any of this stuff, or recommending this stuff. I'm just telling you what the resources that I use. But Coursera, I love Coursera. Coursera is like my favorite resource because you can audit a lot of courses for free. And you don't want to just take a whole bunch of courses. You want to like get hands-on. And so like they have a section called guided projects, which is a way that you can learn, but you're actually doing some stuff, and you're actually working on a real live, like, mini projects. The boot camp, when you're in your boot camp, you want to focus on your boot camp stuff. Like when you're there, you want to focus on building a really good portfolio, working on projects, interacting, with the staff, with the networking piece and all that. You want to really focus on that. But after your boot camp, then you want to start doing like the, more practice, and, like going out there and venturing and maybe looking into other projects as well. Okay, yes. So Nick Singh, this book is called Ace. This is one of my favorite books, Ace the Data Science Interview. And let me tell you about that data science interview. Now, I would have felt like I saw this book. This book is a whole bunch of just like questions. To me, it's like a math exam. But what I've learned, and like this is my experience, because I came in as a newbie. I also do a lot of interviews at my company for new grad positions. And at my company, we don't sit there and ask like all these like this like Google type stuff. Like if you're going to try to apply for Google, and they give you like this exam. At our company, we're looking at like, how can you apply these skills? Like, like just understanding how, like, you're coming into the door. So of course we want you to have the foundational skills, but of course coming in, the communication part, being able to work on a team, you're not going to have to take a test at our company. We don't give tests, but this was a really good book. I recommend. He does have something in here about like the resume and things like that. And I definitely would check out that Data Lemur site, because he has the SQL questions that you can practice. Okay, let's see. Can you please put us out of the book? Nick Singh. Do I have to be a data scientist after being a data analyst? No, absolutely not. Like there's so on YouTube and LinkedIn. Well, his name on YouTube is Alex the Analyst. I love Alex the Analyst. He has YouTube videos. He has projects and things like that out there, but he's a data analyst. There's a lot of data analysts, and they're very successful, and that's all they do. All data analysts don't want to be a data scientist. And I don't like for people to think like, oh, data analyst is below a data scientist. No, that's not true. I wish I could create a nice dashboard, or like do some of the things that some of the data analysts do, but I just don't do that. Data analysts, we focus more on prediction and like what's next and things like that. The data analysts work on like patterns and data and things like that, like being able to tell stories with the data. Do we have to be a data scientist? I guess you are yet to answer this. Did I answer that question? Alex Freeberg, thank you. Did I answer your question about, do I have to be a data scientist after being a data analyst? No. You can, so if you wanted to just skip and like, you want to just jump right into data science, you can. And what I recommend, if you plan on doing that, is SQL first. Definitely want to learn your SQL. And then you start working on your Python and machine learning with Python. And then the data visualization would kind of be worked in with the data visualization is something that you kind of put off towards the end. But as I was saying, if you can go ahead and get that data visualization, like a tool like Tableau out first, that's going to actually give you more options when it comes to jobs and things like that. And so at my company, again, like I said, we have those certification programs. So You can come in. I mean, this is even for people that are software engineers and they want to switch over to data science. We have it where, you know, they have a program where they give you courses that you can take, and they're free courses. They give you all the things you need to take to be successful, because you have to take a test. So we have two different levels. We have the associate and professional level for data science. So if I was a software engineer, or I've met people that are just like, we call them like the data stewards. They just, you know, deal with data and data entry. They have started doing the data science certification. And so what happens is you learn the different things, and then you take tests. And once you take those tests and pass those tests, that becomes a part of your employee profile. And so now when data science positions become open, you're able to apply for these data science positions. But then also, you already work for the company. You already have a manager. You have people that can speak on you as a worker in that company. So that's why, you know, it's really good to look into those internal certification programs as well. Okay. Yes, she did. Thanks. Awesome. Alex Freeberg. Yep. Alex, the analyst. Thanks. Can you share some examples of recent projects you worked on? Woo. So yes. So make sure you follow me on LinkedIn. But you know, last year, you know, ChatGPT just hit the world by storm. And so you start hearing about this large language models, which is what ChatGPT is ran on. And so, you know, last year I took a course. I did a little small project, which is on Hugging Face. And what the project was is, with the ChatGPT, I created a, I don't know if you heard of STAR, but STAR stands for situation, task, action, and results. When you answer any type of behavior interview questions, you want to answer using that STAR method. So my first little mini project that I did was I created, you know, an application where a question comes up, you answer it, and it basically, you know, grades you or tells you how you could have, you know, made your answer better, or if you hit the STAR component, or if you're missing any of the STAR components. That was the first project I did last year. But you guys are gonna be really surprised. This last few months, I actually taught myself how to create web applications. So remember, I'm a data scientist. I was teaching less than 3 years ago. But I saw the power of like these large language models and ChatGPT. So here I am upskilling. And so I taught myself how to create a web application. So my web application is going to come out, hopefully it'll be out next week. It's called, you know, y'all will be the first to hear this, called Sierra .ai. And Sierra stands for the chat component that I have. I have an image generator. I have a section on engaging content, because a lot of people that I meet with, they're like, you know, you tell me to be on LinkedIn, but like, what am I supposed to write about on LinkedIn? So I created an application where you're going to be able to just put in your own words, like, this is what happened today, just in nice paragraph form. And then what Sierra is going to do is she's going to format it nicely so that is engaging for LinkedIn. So when you're doing, you may hear something come up about copyright. And when you're posting on LinkedIn, you want to have like a hook. Like, what's that first line that's going to make people stop and read your post? Nobody want to see a big old long paragraph like they're reading a book. You want it to be nicely formatted. So what my application is going to do is it's going to give you different ways that you can format that post. It's going to take your thoughts, create a nice post. You're going to have a hook. It's going to leave a call to action at the end, some questions. So that's what I'm working on. I'm really, really excited. I'm glad you asked that question, but that's what I'm working on. This is me on my own, and that's what it takes in this field. You have to constantly upskill. And remember, that's web application. That's not a data scientist job. But as soon as you start kind of putting yourself into like, well, I'm only a data scientist, I'm not going to do that, then somebody else might come in who has those skills and they might take the job. So you want to be able to like do it all. You know, like, you know, don't be afraid to step out there. People talk about data scientists not deploying applications and things like that, but the way that things are going now with technology, they may start looking for people that can build entire applications and use some of the data science things. So yeah, that's my next application. I'm gonna be working on that today, this weekend. Hopefully I can get it out by Monday. Just at least the basic foundation of it, and you guys will be able to use it. You'll get 5 free tries, or you can just try it out. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to seeing that. Thank you for that question, Sarah. Yes. Our software engineer and data science under computer science in the university. I believe so. I'm not 100% sure because I see a lot of data analytics programs popping up. I don't want to say it's in the same umbrella because my daughter, she's in school now. She's doing business information technology, and she did some stuff data related, but that's not computer science. So it's not in the same umbrella. But again, data science did not become popular until around 2011. So, like people like myself, my age, we didn't have the opportunity to like major in data science. Really, honestly, like just like me telling you about me creating this web application, I did this on my own, watching some YouTube videos and things like that. So like to me, the answer is not to go and get another degree, especially if it's going to require you to be in debt and have student debt. So I don't think like you don't have to have a technical degree. Now, if you have a degree, you can work with that. If you already have a degree, roll with it. Just start working on those skills and building up your portfolio. Impressive. Hit the link to follow Tiff. Thank you so much for that. Yeah. Please follow me on LinkedIn. So I hope I'm really excited about my app coming out. I just really, like I said, I'm really out here helping people. That's why I'm here. I would not be here if I didn't believe in like their program that they have out here for you guys, the Otamari Text program. And again, I'm just on LinkedIn trying to help people, navigate this system. I know the struggle. Again, I'm a mother, I have a family, I work 2 jobs, but I still was able to get it done. And I mean, and when you really put your mind to it, if it's something that you want to do, you're going to do what you need to do. All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for that, Tiffany. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that session. It was definitely amazing, and I'm sure people listening have learned a thing or two from your story. I know I definitely learned something from your teaching this evening. So for that, we are glad to have you. We are glad to have you here.
Thank you.
So for everybody we're asking about, like the person that asked about data science. Yeah, it's one of the courses available for our next boot camp. We have data analytics, we have data science, we have web development, we have business analysis. And the good thing about our programs is that all our created courses are beginners friendly. They are all beginner friendly. I can attest to that because I finished from the university with a BA in linguistics. And immediately I learned from Odumari Tech too. I'm one of the alumni. I learned data analytics. And I can assure that what I learned in the space of 4 months, I would have never thought I would know those things, because most of the fallacies we've all heard are people. I'm sure most from Nigeria here would have learned. That's why someone was asking about if you have to go for computer engineering to. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I feel from our previous webinars like this, we've talked on people that no matter the age, like you said, you transitioned at the age of 40, no matter the age or your background, it does not hinder you from upskilling. You learn every day. So for anyone interested in joining the bootcamp, like Tiffany said, registration is still going on. And if you register today, you stand to gain a 5% discount by using the coupon code Tiffany. You can just look at her name, and that it will be pasted in the chat box. So you can the coupon code is Tiffany, and you get to enjoy the 5% discount. So thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you. You can too reach out to us. You can just follow us on LinkedIn, follow us on Facebook or Instagram at Odumari Tech. So you can just reach out to us through our LinkedIn page or Facebook or Instagram. Mm-hmm. So I can, okay, I will just share that on my side. I'll just share that from my side.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, all done.
Can I say something too? If anyone, like, I make sure you follow me on LinkedIn, or message me if you're interested in trying out like my Sierra app first and just like trying it out and like giving me some feedback or putting it out there so everyone else can see. I really appreciate it. Just inbox me if you're interested in trying it out. I can let you try like the beta version. I really just want to help people so that, getting out there on LinkedIn is not something that's like, oh, now I got to write a post and I got to make it, look pretty. And, like, it's just not a lot. I just want you to be able to put your thoughts out there and have something that you can start with to give you some ideas. So if you're interested, please message. I really appreciate that. Yeah, and I know people, I switched to my 40s, but I know people that were over their 50s. That has switched into the field. Don't let age, like, it's not the same, as it used to be. Focus on learning and building your portfolio and just getting out there.
Okay, so yes, this is our username at Odumari Tech for easy access. You can also message us on WhatsApp. Yes, this is our WhatsApp number for anyone that wants to reach out to us. Or you can also email us at contact@odumaritech.com. So thank you all for joining. And please remember to follow us on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, and on Twitter. And also follow Tiffany on LinkedIn.
Yes.
That's very important.
Yeah, follow me. And send me a connection request. Just when you send me a connection request, put that you attended the session so I know who you are and I can connect with you. I like to go to your page and interact with your content. So, and that's how you get your content out there. So if you have something recently, I'll come to your page and I'll make a comment and I'll send you a personal message as well. So, that's what I do. I'm very intentional. I'm not about just getting a whole bunch of followers. I want to have a connection with my followers and people that connect with me. So, okay. Anybody else? That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. My pleasure.
Really appreciated your time and hearing from you. Very inspiring.
Thank you, Sarah. And you know what? At the end of the day, I want people to pay it forward. Like, I'm out here and sharing stuff. Once you get to where you want to be, like I said, I came back a year later, come back and pay it forward and help others. That's what it's all about. It really is. All right. Thank y'all for the reactions. I really appreciate it.
Right. So in the absence to wrap, thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. I'll see y'all around.
Bye. Have a great day.
Too.
Have a good weekend. Bye.
Bye.